Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Follow-Up Podcast. I'm Pastor Ryan Ginn, and today's conversation is absolutely a conversation I've been looking forward to for quite some time. I've been working on this, and I'm talking about for months. It goes all the way back to when you were in session at the good old state capitol, and I was trying to tie you down. We did a series here kind of tying into some of the things that were going on in the world, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get the incredible senator that sits in our church congregation almost every single week. And everybody, welcome to the stage, the platform, the podcast, Senator Bo Hatchett.
Well, thanks for having me. I've always wanted to be on a podcast. This is the first time.
Well, you are here. It is officially official. I got a good friend that is absolutely a little jealous right now because he sent me, when I told him that I was going to have you on the show, he was a little, he sent me a little message and he said, man, he goes, you got another politician, so to speak, before me. And I said, well, this one goes to my church and I think the world of him. And I really do. Like, I genuinely think the world of you and how you tie faith and family into public service. And man, I'm just honored to have you and call you a friend, but also somebody who's representing us in the good old state of Georgia and the state capitol. So thank you.
Well, no, thank you. And that was very nice. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is going to be fun.
Well, it is going to be fun. And today we're going to tie a couple things in, and we're going to talk about public service, character, why it matters in the public. Because I think that's something that you probably see some good sides of, but you also see the worst of worst in people.
Yeah.
And so I want to kind of talk about that, but how it ties into your faith. And so everybody, today we're going to kind of dive into that just for a minute. And we're doing something completely new. We're actually doing a video recording. First time ever. And we have Senator Bo Hatchett here with us. And so most people, and I want to kind of start here. Most people see you with the title senator. They don't see you that, and maybe some do, I would say, as a lawyer. You're also a lawyer and you represent people here. And me and you've had conversations, and man, you just have a heart for the people. And I thank you for that as well. But you're also a father.
Yes.
And a husband and an incredible father of 4 girls.
4 girls, man. I am outnumbered big time at home, but it's a lot of fun.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
A lot of cheering, right? Cheer competitions.
Cheer. We did a little baseball this year. My second oldest, Hazel, got into some baseball. We got gymnastics going.
Yeah.
We rarely have days off, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really fun season of life.
Good.
You know?
Good. Well, yeah, I would say you're definitely got your hands full with 4 girls. All I think about as a father of 1 boy, 1 girl, I think about that one wedding one day when my daughter gets married. You got 4 of those bad boys.
Oh, man, yeah.
So I hope the savings account is starting now because it's going to be a busy, busy life. But let me ask you this. Did you ever feel like public service was actually a calling from God rather than just this simple career choice?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And it started, I guess, when I was in college. I was at Georgia Tech, and I was deciding, what to do. I was looking for internships. Really didn't have anything political on the radar at the time, and just by happenstance met this guy that needed an intern.
Yeah,
because. Apparently it was very a competitive internship, and the person that was going to fill that spot, I guess, backed out or something happened. And so I meet him on like a Tuesday, and I start the next Monday. And I'm interning down at the Capitol. Got to see a lot of just how the sausage is made,
Yeah.
My understanding of how a bill passes, it's not exactly like they show on Schoolhouse Rock. And it just kind of opened my eyes in Georgia in particular. And I'm sure it's like this everywhere, but there are a very small group of people that make decisions for all of us. Mm-hmm. And I was, at 21, however old I was at the time, that struck me as like, what happens if you get the wrong people in there? Yeah. What happens if you get someone with the wrong interests in there? And I think that kind of planted the seed that, maybe one day I want to be in that room.
Yeah.
And fast forward, 10 years, the opportunity presented itself to run for office, and we got in.
You're there.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful you are. I actually go back to the days I was in Jefferson, and I told you this before. I still remember you standing in front of Wells Fargo.
Yep.
At the bank in downtown on voting day.
Yep.
And election day, rather, and you were there. And
I
never
and down
knew
the
that I
street.
would get to know you.
Up and down, yeah.
Yeah. And man, it's amazing how that works. And man, I'm just thankful for that, because I think it's important. Because sometimes, public service and mixing politics, that's a touchy subject in itself in today's side. We have to be really careful, because I think we almost feel like we have to pick a side. Mm-hmm. We don't. I'm still from the old way of not necessarily picking a side. I'm still from the old side of what candidate lines up the best with what the Word of God tells us and how we should live. And I think you hear me say this enough, especially for those of you that are watching or listening, is that I talk about the good old book called the Bible. Yes, that's the book for me, a song that we sung in children's church as a kid in every vacation Bible school. And that's the book we got to live by. And there are a lot of things and that people stand for that are completely against what the Word of God tells us to do. And so we've got to be really careful. And that's what I love about you, is your faith is important. You can tell you're rooted. Your family loves the Lord. And that you genuinely want to serve people. And I go back to this, serving people, not what's in the best interest for Bo, what's in the best interest for the people of this community. Mm-hmm. That's why Habersham loves you. That you're born and bred in Habersham. We're thankful for that. But people love you. But you're being the greatest form, and personally, in my opinion, and this is an opinion, according to what the Word of God tells us, that we're called to serve, just like Jesus did. And so you're serving people every single time that you go up and represent us. And man, it's really neat, by the way. The chamber was amazing. That was the coolest thing I got to do.
Oh, yeah.
Going up there for the prayer.
That was
and
cool
the
to have you up there.
I was absolutely scared out of my mind, walking into a room full of a bunch of lawyers and lawmakers. And man, it was a neat trip, and I'm thankful. And got to meet the lieutenant governor who's running for governor.
Yep.
And man, I'm thankful for that friendship. So here's the thing. I think it's important in understanding and tying public service into, we kind of separate public service from ministry. But Scripture's full of it. And Scripture's full of people who God placed in positions of influence. If you think about it, Esther in Persia, if you think about, we saw Joseph in Egypt, but we also saw Nehemiah serving the king. And so here's the thing. None of them were pastors. You're not a pastor.
No.
You're not a pastor.
I don't even play one on TV.
No. And so, but they were all used by God.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people think, well, if I'm not a pastor, if I'm not in ministry, I can't be used by God. And that's not true, because the Bible's full of stories. And that's kind of why we said that. So have you ever seen God use your position as a platform for influence for the gospel of Jesus?
I mean, I feel like every day. You know, the one thing that I really like about this, being in the state senate and really getting out and campaigning is just the number of people that you get to meet.
Yeah.
Because, a Senate district is, at least in the state Senate, it's about 200,000 people. So I've got 9 counties that I represent, 6 full counties, mm-hmm. 3 partial counties. And I've gotten to meet some of the neatest people that I probably wouldn't have met mm-hmm. otherwise. And not just in politics, in like my job. Mm-hmm. What we do is catastrophic injury cases, and mm-hmm. you meet people when they're at the lowest point in their life, and sometimes it's people that you normally wouldn't get to meet. And so I think God will put people in front of you or connect you with people for a reason. I don't think I think everything does happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. And so as far as, have I been able to make an impact? I hope so. Mm-hmm. I think, when you can share your faith with other people that you normally wouldn't get to meet or even come in contact with, that can be powerful. Yeah. And so, the opportunity certainly is there. Yeah. And I, try to take advantage of it as much as I can. Just, meeting constituents or clients or whoever it is, and putting forth my best foot and giving them the effort that I think the job requires and the position requires is something that I really try to do every day.
Yeah, I believe that, because if there's a lot of stickiness when it comes to faith in the job that you have, really truthfully, and you have to be very careful in what you do, because if you just preach all the time, people see you as radical. If you are quiet about it, the people of faith are going, why aren't you more bold about your faith? But you pick a great balance of going, hey, I'm going to show people the gospel. I don't have to preach. I'm just going to show people the gospel, that Jesus is real, that love is real, and that you can love people. It doesn't matter where their background is or where they come from. I think John Maxwell, huge fan of John Maxwell, read a lot of his books. Or should I say I listen to a lot of his books. I like Audible. And because my wife is the reader, I'm just going to be straightforward. But the thing is that he does a great job in balancing the business world. And then he gives like a little segment at the very end of it where he says, hey, you're free to go. But if you would like to hear about how I got to where I'm at, and you want to hear about that and my faith, you can stay for the next few minutes as I share that. And usually they say 90% of people stay in the room wanting to hear, how in the world did he become so successful? And he gets to say it's because of God. And so I think that's a really neat way. And I think you probably have your own unique way of how you do it with people. And so the thing about faith and politics, it gets really heated quickly. If you look at, and I want to be real careful here, but if you look at New York and what's going on right now, everybody in the South's got their view of what's going on up there, and which I agree, there is some craziness. But how do you stay grounded in your faith while at the same time you're working in this political environment where you can see rage, you can see the best of people, but you can see the worst of people at the exact same time?
How do I stay grounded?
Yeah.
I think I've got people that I surround myself with that I can call and talk issues through. Great. I'm in a unique position, I think, and very blessed, where when I was running for office, and I don't want to make this too political, but when I was running for office, I told people I was a Christian. And they voted for that. Yeah. And I think a large majority of my district feels the same.
That's good.
Now, I'm also a constitutionalist in separation of church and state. Yeah. So there's that too. Yeah. So I think the part that helps me stay grounded too is just, I like to put my cell phone out, right? So it's on my website.
He really does, by the way.
Yeah, I've been on radio interviews. I say it. When I was campaigning the first time, my daughter, who's 9 now, was 3, and she had my cell phone memorized because I would just give it out to everybody. I still have it, 499-6941. You call me, I can talk to you. But I don't like to engage in conflict with constituents. Let me back up. I like to have conversations about conflict with constituents and explain in a calm way why I voted a certain way or why I'm going to vote a certain way. Yeah. And I think we've got a lot of people that are keyboard warriors,
You said it.
On Facebook.
I agree.
Well, and it's not just it's not just about national politics. It's about like little issues, like people that will just go after you. Yeah. Oh, I saw he voted this way, or he's in the pockets of these people. And it's just like, just call me. Let's talk about it. I can tell you exactly why I voted this way. Yeah. And I have walked away. I mean, I've met with constituents about it. I've talked on the phone, and I think they sometimes walk away going, "Wait a second, that's a real person." Yeah. It's not just a title. Like, when I'm done with this job, the job's still going to be there. There will still be someone holding that position. Yeah. But I'm not. I mean, And so I think in today's society, a lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
And they'll say stuff online that they wouldn't say over the phone or in person. And so being willing and able to listen and have a conversation and then explain my position, and then continuing to talk to people, like, there are some people we agree on 99% of everything, and there's just this one issue, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to have to disagree or agree to disagree on that one, but you've got my vote on everything else.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the problems that we have in politics now, even between parties. I think whether you're whatever side of the aisle you're on, most people want what's best for Georgia. Most people want to take care of people. Most people want Georgia to be the best place to live.
Yep.
How we get there is where there's differences.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be as hostile as it is.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that it's driven by media. It's driven by political campaigns. The next vote is more important than the current state of affairs.
Yeah.
And, without talking one-on-one to somebody, it's really hard to explain that. But having those conversations and remaining calm, and just having a background of going to church, and having a soft heart when you go into these conversations with constituents or with other lawmakers, I think is one way that I can stay grounded.
Yeah. Well, I would say one of the things you said at first is when you were running, you said, I made sure people knew I was Christian.
Yeah, on the flyer. Man.
And I think that's important. I think that's important that people know. But I also think it's not that you just said it, you live it. And I think we preach this enough as pastors, but there's a lot of people who say the title, I'm a Christian, but their life doesn't represent it. And the amazing thing is, not only do you say it, you also, it doesn't mean you're flawless. It doesn't mean you're perfect.
Oh, yeah.
We know that. I'm not, and I'm a pastor. But at the same time, you live it the best you possibly can. And that's what we're required to do. And I'm thankful that you do that, because I bet there's been a lot of moments that your faith has impacted your decision. If we were to be truthful, I would say integrity. It comes from your faith. I would say some of your decision making has guided your approach on an issue.
Yeah.
And probably guided you on your response to people with the keyboard warriors. Let's be real. And I'm thankful for that, because, Proverbs 29:2 says, when the righteous prosper, the people rejoice. And I think that's a powerful reminder that leadership affects people. And we need good leadership, but we need godly leadership, because we are one nation under God. No matter how we try to change this, and it's not lowercase God, it is the capital G God. And
right.
that's where I really think leadership is more about, it's important. But I guess I would ask you this. Do you think leadership is more about policies or character?
Oh, well, I think it's more about character.
Yeah.
I think it's more about consistent character. But people, like, for example, my title, I guess, is a state senator, right? If the character's not there, people will quickly stop following the title. They'll stop caring about the title.
Yeah, that's true.
There are some people who have held higher offices than me that lose a lot of respect, and now they're ineffective because of decisions they made, how they led, just so I think at the end of the day, character is more important.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because it is true. I would say government in itself may change laws, but character changes culture. And that's what matters. That's what we need. We need character. We don't need just laws. We need character to go with those. And I'm thankful. for that. One of my favorite leadership stories in the Bible is in the book of Daniel. And Daniel served under multiple kings who didn't share the beliefs that he had. And I would say, in a way, you're kind of in the same situation. But he never compromised his own convictions. And I think even for you, as someone serving in the government today, what lessons in itself, like just talking about the book of Daniel and talking about the life that Daniel lived. Do you have anything, if you know the story in itself, is there anything that stands out to you as far as your convictions? And I want to be real careful. By the way, I want to say this. This is not a political podcast.
Right.
Okay, so this is not political. This is about faith, everybody. So
all right.
I do have a state senator, but this is about faith and growing.
Okay, so I guess with Daniel, I don't know if anyone's ever done this before, but I would compare Daniel to Derek Jeter.
Ooh,
okay.
Whoa.
We're going.
Yeah, let's go.
Left field out here. I guess you're second.
Pulled out a
base.
Yankee. I don't know how that's going to work in the South, but go ahead.
Well, Derek Jeter, I guess when he got into the Hall of Fame, someone said, and I can't remember if it was an interview or during a speech, but he was like, "Oh yeah, he's one of the greats."
Yeah.
And Derek said, being great just means you're consistently good. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think Daniel was consistent every single day. Like, did he do a lot of amazing things? Yes. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't, one episode that he just came out of nowhere and like, whoa, I never expected that.
Yeah.
Quite the opposite. Kind of as he rose in power, first off, when he was in prison and he wouldn't eat the meat, like, look, I'm not going to eat that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to eat this. Mm-hmm. And then God's like, hey, thanks for being faithful. I'm going to make you super healthy. And then everyone else is going to be like, whoa, what is he eating? And then, he interprets the dream. And nobody wanted to tell the king what's going on. And Daniel did. And then the king's like, wow. And he could have taken the credit. Yeah. He's like, no. I serve an amazing God, and God is the one that helped me interpret this.
That's right.
And then, was it the third or fourth king? They ban prayer. And Daniel's like, I pray every day.
Yeah.
And they know where I'm going to pray, and I'm going to go do it. And they arrest him. Yeah. And then he gets thrown into the lion's den, and God's like, hey, you've been faithful. Mm-hmm. I got you. They're not going to touch you. Mm-hmm. And I just think Daniel was consistently faithful. Mm. And that's what made him, I guess, in God's eyes, one of the greats or excellent. Yeah. And that's kind of what I think a good leader in any, whether it's government or church or business, having consistency and letting the people that you're leading know what to expect. Mm-hmm. Because I think even if they disagree with your decision, the knowing what to expect next, and not being surprised, is a big quality for a leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's
people
great.
know where they're going.
Yeah.
Having direction.
Yeah, that's good.
Is something that's easier for people to follow.
I'm still impressed though. Derek Jeter.
Yeah, man.
And Daniel.
And I'm not a Yankees fan.
I mean, this is Derek Jeter was he's the best shortstop, really, one of the greatest of all time.
And he would say I was consistently good.
Yeah, that's what a great illustration. Yeah. Great job, by the way. Hey, everybody, our state senator knows the Bible. Come on, the Bible. Yes, that's the book for me. I think that's really, really good. So I guess, do you think as Christians sometimes we focus so much on being heard that we forget to be excellent or good or doing the right thing? Do you think we focus so much on being heard? Because if you look at it right now, I think we as the church, and this is just me speaking from my heart, I guess more so, is everybody's outraged with what's going on in certain political schemes of the country as a whole, that it's like now we're ready to start screaming from the rooftops. And do you feel like we focus more on being heard than rather do we forget the side of, hey, our life has got to be a representation of how we should be as Christians?
I think yes.
Okay.
And I do think that social media is one of the reasons, because it's so easy just to type something on social media and let your opinion be heard about someone or something.
Yeah.
And I think people can get really trigger happy on social media too.
Yeah.
But if something happens or you see someone made a post about this person, it's very easy as a member of the social media community to go over there and give your opinion, right? And sometimes I think people on social media can go, it is so important for me to say this.
Yeah.
Heck no, I'm gonna go attack them. That's wrong. When I've never seen, and I'm sure it happens, but I've never seen someone who's bold enough to post their opinion on social media have their opinion changed by someone else. It's kind of like in football. You don't argue with the referee, right?
It ain't gonna work.
A referee's never changed their call. You don't argue with the umpire and say that wasn't a ball or that was a strike.
Right.
Whatever.
That's right. They only did that in a Georgia game where they ended up when they were throwing trash.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving forward.
I forgot about that. Okay, so maybe one time.
He's a tech guy, everybody, but he's also a dog.
Yeah, but I think kind of like Daniel.
Yeah.
He didn't argue with the guy with the guards.
Right.
He didn't have to be heard.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be kind. And he kind of let his actions speak louder than his words.
Nice.
And sometimes I think that our desire to be heard is we want our words to be heard.
Yeah.
Instead of sometimes, like I said, actions speak louder than words. I think people need to be reminded of that.
That's right.
Where, you can say all you want to on social media, but sometimes, having someone see you, being a disciple out in public when you don't think anybody's watching can have a lot bigger impact on changing their minds.
That's right.
Or, witnessing to them as to why your way of thinking may be correct.
You don't need an audience for every thought you have.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And not everybody needs to hear every thought you have because some of them are unhealthy. So I'm thankful. Not everybody knows the thoughts I have throughout the week and the day. But I want to talk about relationship between church and government just for a second if we can. A lot of people either think the church should avoid government entirely or control government completely. Like that's kind of the mindset of a lot of people. What role do you think the church should play in society? I know I'm loading you with some questions.
Yeah, no, that's. I guess it's easy to conceptualize, but harder to say out loud. But I think government shapes policy, and I think churches shape communities. Right?
Yeah.
I think there is a group of people now that think the government should take the role of the church.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is we'll get calls about, I need the government to do this. I need XYZ done. I'm about to run out of food, blah, blah, blah. And I want to be careful when I say this, but very rarely those types of calls come from someone who's a part of a congregation. I think a church can take care of a community better than the government can. I don't think it's the government's role to take care of its people. We're supposed to protect the people. Sure. But I mean, of course, there are certain instances where people need help from the government. I'm not saying we shouldn't help.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
But when someone is out of job, if they're part of a community, or if the church just knows about it, a lot of times they can, number one, hey, we're going to help you get back up on your feet. We can help you meet people that are looking for someone just like you. We're going to, when someone passes away, the church is there for a meal train, for, a GoFundMe account. There's just so many things. And that's what a community needs more so than the government. And I think a lot of the problems that we're seeing in today's society, we didn't see 50 years ago because the number of people that were actively engaged in the church was higher.
Yeah.
But I think government has a role for policies.
Yeah.
And church has a role for communities.
Yeah.
And I think they live together, but they're on separate sides of the track. You know what I mean? If the goal is to take care of the people of the state, both have the ability to do so in their own lane.
Yeah, that's good. I think you said something about GoFundMe, and as a pastor, I can tell you this: it happens every time. When people are in need or they're struggling, they don't turn to the government and ask for help. They come to the church financially, saying, "Hey, I can't pay my rent. We don't have food." And churches are the ones that are doing a really good job. We have churches here locally in our community that have food drives, and they hand out food to people in need. And, the church, I would say, if I would think of one thing people misunderstood or misunderstand, is that the church changes hearts. I think the government manages systems, if that makes sense, to a certain extent. Our job as the church, I feel, is to get into the lives of people and actually show them the love of Jesus, to actually give to them as much as we can. We can't help everybody.
No.
And that's the hard part. It drives me crazy. Our phone rings here. I want to help everybody. We can't do that. And I try to be very spirit-led. I want to make sure God's saying, hey, this is the one. This is what you should be doing. And we have a team that does this. So that's what's amazing about it. But do you think that healthy churches matter for healthy communities?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think churches make healthy families. Healthy families make healthy communities. Healthy families make productive societies. I think healthy churches can help in those situations. Like, okay, so for example, a few years ago, my wife and I found out about someone who really was in need. Okay. And so we called a couple friends, and this one lady, great friend of mine, showed up with a lot of groceries. She has a big heart.
Yeah.
She showed up with a lot of groceries.
Yeah.
She's like, I know you're thinking I'm just giving her a handout and you probably disagree with this. And I was like, no. I 100% agree with this.
Yeah.
I would disagree if you think that it's the government's job to do what you're doing right now, helping your neighbor out, right?
Good.
So without churches, I think our communities would be extremely unhealthy, because I know how government works.
Yeah.
I know how government programs work. The church is way more efficient.
I love that. We're more efficient.
They are.
Yes. Sometimes I don't feel like we always are, so this is great.
Yeah, but I think churches just... I guess the original question is, churches help make communities healthy.
Good.
And even like in my family, or in my personal journey, during session, it's stressful, man.
Yeah.
It's stressful. And, there are certain bills that are easy. I think 92% of the bills we vote on are bipartisan and pretty much unanimous.
Yeah.
Or means everyone votes for it. But then the other 10%, it can be stressful.
Yeah.
And, you're probably... when I'm in session, I go down to the altar a lot more during ministry moment, to kind of lay stuff at the foot of the cross.
You do, yeah.
And you're like, man, I wonder what's going on. But I do like doing that because you can cast your stressor and your fears, your worries on. But no, that's a stressful time. But like, my church helps me navigate that. right? It makes me healthier as a
Yeah.
person because I can walk into church stressed out and walk out feeling like way better,
Yeah.
like a burden's been lifted. And I think people need that.
Yeah.
I think we're designed to need that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And healthy
I
community.
think, me as a pastor is what I'm hearing right here, which is really, I think, is it doesn't matter what level of leadership you're at. And it really doesn't even matter if you're in leadership, but whatever leadership level you're at, you still have worry, stress, fears, maybe some insecurities, and you realize you need more than just yourself to get through those.
Huge.
Man, that means a lot. Even as a pastor, it motivates me more when I'm preaching, and like in ways you're helping me here is because everybody's got different levels of different things that they're dealing with, and we all have the common denominator. We need our Savior in our lives, and that's the peace everybody needs. They need Jesus Christ. There is no ands, there's no ifs. We were wired that way. But I want to shift it just for a second to leadership under pressure, because you kind of went there.
Yeah.
Leadership sounds glamorous. It really does. If you look at it, it sounds glamorous until criticism shows up. Mm-hmm. And criticism's hard to deal with, even in my level of leadership. So how do you handle pressure? How do you handle criticism? How do you navigate through difficult decisions?
So I'm going to give a shout out to my high school football coach to begin with. Gene Cathcart.
Oh man, Jefferson folks, you know him.
Yeah. So early on, in ninth grade, I guess, 8th grade, 9th grade, when I was learning under him, he always instilled in me that like you can't let the emotions of the moment or the game influence like me. So he would really get on me if I celebrated with the team after we score. He would get on me if I, got upset or, threw a ball or just showed my frustration. He said, you got to be steady, because when people are too excited, they can make mistakes, and you got to, as a quarterback, you've got to be that leader. So I think I learned in a way when the world's crazy around you, you kind of, I try to remain calm.
Yeah.
And that helps, because then I can think. I have my group of people that I can talk to.
Sure.
So there have been a handful of votes over the last 6 years that have been really conflicting. My heart's just getting pulled both ways. And I think in those moments, having, number one, a calm head. Because there are some people down there, I'm not going to say names, they're like, I don't know what to do. What should I do? What should I do? And then whoever's sitting next to them say, well, vote red, vote green. And then when they get the call, well, the person next to me told me to vote red. Or the person next to him. And that's why I did it, because I trust him. See, I don't like that. I know, like when I come home, I'm going to lay my head on my pillow and sleep well, because I make a decision that I can back up.
Yeah.
I don't walk on votes.
Yeah. Good.
And I don't blame them on other people. Like, I like to know, okay, I thought this through. Mm-hmm. Now, have I thought a vote through and thought I was in the right, and then a couple years later being like, man, I probably should have, now that I understand it even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be the first one to admit if I have those.
Yeah.
But, we vote on so many things. But yeah, like the pressure around those moments, just being calm and being able to really think through, I think helps.
I love your honesty, by the way, there, because you're being honest that you've made mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you didn't have all the information beforehand. And I think for every person even listening or tuning into this, is that we're so quick to jump to conclusions. We're so quick to even condemn, but even ourselves, he without sin cast the first stone. And that's biblically speaking. And we need to understand that it's not everybody sitting in that state capitol is going to make the best decision every single time, because even we as individuals, we don't do it. We don't even do what's best for our family every single time. We may go off of lack of information or off of a feeling, and we all know that feelings will lead you down a road you don't want to go sometimes, and so we have to be really careful. So thank you for doing that. So I want to kind of ask you this: what's the scripture? What's a Bible verse that you kind of glean on often in leadership?
I like Psalm 23. That's probably, what is it, 23:4 would be, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for thou art with me. And I think that's one where in a lot of instances, and I'm either in court, in politics, on the Gold Dome, when you're being criticized, I can go back to that in my mind and be like, look, this is just Facebook. This isn't even the valley of the shadow of death, right? Like, God's with me. So I think that's one good. That I, probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
It's just a reminder that, like, hey, I got you. I got your back.
Yeah.
You can.
That's good. That's a reminder, everybody. We need to be praying, not just for the White House. We need to be praying for our local politicians and elected officials, and obviously we know first responders. We know all of that, but we need to be praying for you guys as well, because for whatever reason, God put you there, and He put you there for a reason, and I'm thankful for that. But one thing I've learned as a pastor is that if you lead long enough, somebody's going to disagree with you. Somebody is, they're going to tell you this is not the right thing. And sometimes it's on the same day. Somebody tells you you're doing too much, and someone else says you're not doing enough. Like, I still remember this as a pastor, or as a kid in the church. My pastor, he kind of made this reference kind of often. He said, I've been in a church service, been in the altar, and I've been prayed for, and one person's on one side saying, hold on, hold on, hold on. The other person saying, let go, let go, let go. And that's kind of the way you feel sometimes in leadership, and it's so true. And I would say that even you guys kind of, as the position you're in, you kind of experience the same thing. And so I think every leader that's listening right now would say amen to that. So the last part that I really want to kind of dive into, and I know this is a longer podcast, and it was meant to be, is that I want to talk about your faith at home. And public leadership means very little if we're not leading well at home. Our home is what matters. As a pastor, I can speak from my perspective. I can lead a church and do a great job at leading a church, but if I'm not leading my home, I'm failing. And how do you balance your family life with the demands of your job? I mean, let's just be honest. From both seats that you sit in, from a lawyer to being a state senator, how do you balance so well? Because I think you do a great job.
I don't know if I do a great job or not. You just got to make it happen. But I think it's just daily effort to, whether it's driving back and forth every day to Atlanta when I'm in session, keeping my priorities in check. I think I want my kids to see me. Bringing them to church on Sundays, spending time with them at home, spending time with my wife. I think I found out a while ago, the more tired I am, the happier my kids and wife are. Yeah. The harder I work, the happier they are. And I think just realizing that is something that, helps. But I hope anybody listening, how do you balance it so well? I mean, I don't do it well every single day. I can tell you that much. I try my best. Consistently good, right?
That's right.
That's what
That's
you got to
right.
be.
Derek Jeter.
Consistently good.
And Daniel.
Sometimes you don't hit a home run in a game. Sometimes you do. And that's a daily thing. Like some days when we're in session, I may leave before my kids wake up and get home before or after they go to bed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but there's tomorrow. I'm going to see him tomorrow.
That's right.
And so I think it's just the attitude that you take, and I'm not perfect, and I'm sure I've done some.
Do you have some advice you would give some dads who want to lead spiritually but don't feel qualified, like I'm saying this because it's easy for me and people to see in the position I am as a pastoral role.
Yeah.
But in your role, like, how do you lead spiritually as a father who may say, man, I don't even know the Bible.
Yeah. I think that, you know the old videos on airplanes where they're like, please put your mask on first before.
Yes.
I think the same thing.
They still have those.
Yeah. Well, I think the same thing applies here. You know, if you want to lead spiritually in your house, you got to make sure you know which direction to walk in. And so it's like kind of, whether it's getting involved in a church or surrounding yourself with those people, understanding, you know, what the Bible says, because you know, the blind leading the blind, you know, you can't, I guess, take care of yourself up front, and then it makes it better. It makes it easier to lead.
Yeah.
And you're going to fall on your face.
That's right.
You are.
That's right.
And you got to have guys.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. You got to have guys that are in the Word with you to be there, pick you up.
You're not going to be a
put you back on the
perfect
track.
father.
Shoot, no. There's
But
only
you gotta
one of
be-
those.
But you got to be present.
Yeah, there's only one of those.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, I going back to football, my coach used to be, hey, 90% of life is just showing up. It's just showing up.
That's the truth.
Like, you may be
Getting up and
tired.
going. Yeah.
You may be tired. You may be in a bad mood, but you make it to that cheerleading competition or that dance recital,
right.
and you're just sitting in the seat. You show up.
That's
90% of the battle's just showing up.
That's right. That's right. And you do a great job of that. So let me kind of wrap this up. You know, one of our passions here at Purpose Church is investing in the next generation. Mm-hmm. We believe in that. We are, you know, I just walked him through showing him the development that we want to do for our children's ministry, because he's got 4 girls that are a part of that. And, you know, we believe investing in them, but also, you know, our middle and high school students and college age. What concerns you most about this next generation? Like the ones that are going to be sitting in your seat. Have you ever thought about it?
Yeah. No, technology.
And kind of talk about that, because your wife kind of encouraged you with an idea of a bill that just got passed, and I think it's incredible.
Yeah,
like,
well,
we need this. So go ahead.
It got through the Senate. It didn't make it all the way through the House.
Oh, it didn't?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, no, there's AI platforms out there that can literally, you know, take a picture of someone and make a video doing whatever they want it to do. You know, it's kind of sick. And I think, so I think one of the things that I'm most worried about for our kids is technology. It is designed to engage you and hold on to you. You know, like your phone. And I know it sounds like, oh, he's getting crazy on me.
You're accurate.
But your phone, the longer you're on the phone, the longer you're engaging with your tablet, with your device, the more information it can give you. The more information it gives you, the more money this company makes, because you're engaging with ads.
Yeah.
The more you engage with ads, the more you're going to buy things. The more data they can collect and sell. They're not good for us.
No, you're right.
And I think with AI in particular, people don't even know what's real anymore. And I think technology right now is one of the biggest threats, but I also think that as a result of technology, it's one of the largest driving forces to the church. And I think there is like at least from my perspective, there's somewhat of a revival going on with young people, because I think they want something real.
Yeah.
And, you know, at home, their parents are on their devices all the time, searching for something that's not real. And they're getting fed just things on social media, you know, looking at someone's Instagram and make, I don't have it together. Look at this person. That's not real. But when they can get in the Word, and they really get in the Word, that's real.
So if you had 5 minutes right now with a teenager,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, I would want. I don't know. I don't know the
How
words.
would you? So there's parents that are probably thinking, man, well, how do I do this? I mean, go out and get a flip phone, great idea.
Yeah.
Like, really, what would you say? Because the reality is, your time's coming. You got 4 girls.
Yeah.
And really, I shouldn't say your time's coming. Your time's now. You're raising them in a way right now.
I don't know I don't know if I know the exact words I would use,
Okay.
but the message that I would want to get across is like, if you don't know, there's a God out there. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And if you can dig deep enough and meet him,
Yeah.
and understand what his purpose was on earth here, mm-hmm. and how that impacts your life, I think once they can meet that,
Yeah.
it will change their life.
That's right.
And so, I guess I would want to relay that message as best that I can, because I think a lot of our kids right now aren't getting that, mm-hmm. that like I got when I was growing up, and they're not worshiping, but their idols are on a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, like yesterday, when you had all those kids come down, that was cool. I didn't realize there were so many kids in our church.
Yeah.
Like middle school to high school age kids. I think that's cool, and I think when they get into the Word, it fills a void in their heart that society no longer provides. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, parents are on tablets, kids are on social media. Face-to-face interactions are no longer as common. Yeah. One of the best things I think we did was, we're going to be taking away smartphones in schools during school hours. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah, and teach people how to socialize.
I know some people that were uninformed is upset. Like, well, how is my kid going to get? I think they misunderstood what that really was. They just can't have their phone out, but
they can't. They can have it with them. They just can't be on it.
That's right.
So
that's right.
You have it in your pocket. It can be off.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I couldn't imagine trying to be a teacher today.
Yeah.
With what was going on with cell phone usage. Yeah. During class, it's probably a difficult task. Mm-hmm. Kids are already distracted, but add a cell phone, holy moly. I think we so often say that the next generation is the church of tomorrow. And I think that's an easy way of saying it because we're thinking years down the road. But reality right now, they are the church of today. And I think that's what's true is because we got to train a child in the way they should go so that they shall not depart. And as a parent, I kind of think about that kind of often. But I said something when I went to the state capitol. And you gave me the special opportunity to do that. And Micah 6:8, and I kind of read this, and it tells us, act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. What would happen? This is the final question I'm going to ask you, I promise. But I got some fun questions, but real quick. What would happen if leaders and citizens alike lived that verse every day of their life? Like, if we act justly. Yeah. Love mercy and walk humbly, because I think we lack humility. I think our way of acting justly is giving people what they deserve, and I think that's the way we think. We think we're acting justly by, hey, let's give them what they deserve and how they treat people, so to speak. And the whole love mercy is kind of where that counteracts. We've got to show more mercy because, man, look what God did for us. Mm-hmm. He sent His Son and showed us a lot of mercy. And so how do you think, or what do you think would happen if leaders and citizens did this as a whole?
The world would look a lot different than it does today. Interactions would be different. I think I strive to do that, but I mean, even I every single day can't hit those. I don't think anybody can. I think there's only one person that lived perfectly. But yeah, I just think, in general, if people just tried, mm-hmm. it would make a big difference. I think, the whole turn the other cheek, kill them with kindness, not to judge, don't cast the first stone. Yeah. I mean, there's so many lessons that are in the Bible that applied then, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, and still apply now. Yeah. And it's all about getting that message out. But it would be think if everyone did that, like I said, the world would look a lot different than it did today.
Come on. Yeah.
Crime would probably be really low. And
do you feel like there's still hope in the state of Georgia?
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love that.
Yeah, dude. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't think there was hope.
That's right. And I want people to hear that, because I think sometimes we're like, oh man, we're up the creek without a paddle, and it's just, that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, do we still have hope? This is something I wanted to talk about a little bit, because you were talking about biblical characters.
Oh yeah.
So, I think you and I talked about this before, but
bonus segment.
Yeah. So my favorite story from the Bible is like one of the first ones that I remember in in Sunday school. I can remember Jonah and the whale.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I remember, I don't know how I was 3, 4. I can still remember drawing this picture of the giant whale, but I always thought it was so cool. And growing up, I was a swimmer. And so being in the ocean, just whatever, I've always been attracted to water. So here you have Jonah. He's on this ship. It's storming, right?
Yeah.
So he's in a bad spot. Mm-hmm. There's no hope.
Yeah.
Okay. So then they throw him overboard.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So then here's Jonah, who was in a ship in the middle of a storm, and now he's in the middle of the sea.
That's right.
Right. And so Jonah's like, there's no hope. And then he gets eaten
Swallowed
by a giant fish.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, great.
There's definitely no hope.
If it couldn't get any worse, like, what in the world is going on? But, as a swimmer, and the way that I kind of look at this story may be a little different than most people, but when you're in the middle of the ocean, you're going to have to swim for a long time if you're going to make it to dry land.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jonah already got thrown out of that one boat, and they're not going to put him back in. Because, when they threw him out, the sea's calm.
Yep.
You're not coming back in my boat.
That's right.
And at that time, there's probably not many boats that pass by.
That's right.
So the only reason Jonah survived is because he got eaten by a fish. And, in that moment, he was probably like, there are a lot of people like Eeyore. You ever watch Winnie the Pooh? Eeyore's like, oh,
I do.
Like,
yeah.
It couldn't get any worse. When it rains,
always
it pours.
Debbie Downer.
But sometimes, the fish, he was in there for 3 days. He repented. He got right. It's kind of a dead end.
Yeah.
And sometimes dead ends are exactly what we need to get us to dry land again. Mm-hmm. And so I think when people think, there's just no hope for this country, there's no hope for this state, there's no hope for this county, look what we're going through. Sometimes in those moments, that's when you define the next move. Like, what is going to happen next? Because sometimes God has to slow you down.
Yeah.
Sometimes God's like, look, man, you are swimming in the middle of the ocean. I'm about to send a fish to eat you, because if I don't, you're not going to make it to dry land.
That's right.
And so, the fish can be, a dead end in a career. It can be literally being in jail. There are moments where God...
You're preaching right now.
Am I?
You're preaching.
Well,
You're
is
preaching
just...
to me.
I don't know.
It's kind of like I said yesterday. I said we got to embrace the trials in our life, because God's teaching us something.
Yeah.
And we would never be where we're going if we didn't go through what we're going through.
Right. Well, then...
He's teaching us something.
Well, then Jesus, in Matthew, said, I think it's Matthew 12, says...
Yeah, he's a preacher.
I am going to die.
Yeah.
And then just like Jonah, I'm going to be gone for 3 days. And so he literally equates being in the heart of the earth with Jonah in the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
And we know why Jesus went through that, right?
That's right.
And those 3 days were dark. Those were dark days. And, oh, God, it can't get any worse. But because he was gone for those 3 days and came back to life, that's really the bedrock and foundation of the Christian faith. Like that, he was gone. I promise you he was gone. It was 3 days. And then he came back.
That's right.
And so I think when tragedy strikes, when you're going in a bad direction, when you're just lost, when you're out in the middle of the ocean, sometimes it's in those instances when you think it's the darkest that we're really close.
Yeah.
And so I think, yes, there's a lot of hope for the next generation. There's a lot of hope for the state of Georgia. There are some good people.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of great people.
One of the cool things that I get to do is I meet people there's 56 state senators. There's 180 representatives. And there are some really good people down there on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're, on a different political side than me doesn't mean, like, you're not a Christian.
Yeah.
And I've been able to meet so many people, and I've got a lot of hope for the future of the state.
Man,
I do.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good to hear you say all those things. And as I said, you got a little preacher in you, without a doubt. And your knowledge, the best part is you got knowledge of the Word of God. And so, there again, you don't just carry the title Christian. You live it. It's in you. And you can see that through and through. And I think so many people have. So I'm going to give you a rapid fire round. We're going to close this out. Without a doubt, I promise.
Okay.
I know a preacher says we're fine. we're bringing this to an end 15 times. Here we are. Let's tighten this up just for a minute. Here it is. Coffee or sweet tea?
Which one do I like better?
Yeah.
Ooh, sweet tea.
Okay.
Tastes better, but I drink
Okay.
coffee every
Okay.
day. So
Okay, good. So you kind of answered this a little bit. Let's just hear it. Who's your favorite Bible character, obviously besides Jesus?
Jonah.
Jonah. Yep. Great one. Jonah in the well. We actually did a series on that. You remember that?
I do.
Yep. I think that's actually when we talked about it. Here we go. I know you got to pick a side. I'm sorry. You got to on this. You got to pick a town. Your favorite hometown in Georgia.
Well, in Georgia, we don't really refer to them as towns. I think it's more about which county you're from.
Come on. All right.
And
great.
I grew up in Habersham, so yeah.
Yeah, come on. That's what I'm talking about.
All the counties
Go
in
Raiders.
Northeast Georgia are my favorite, but Habersham.
Go
has a
Raiders. The
special
only thing
place
bad
in
about
my
our
heart.
counties are school colors. We look like Auburn. I'm still working on that because I'm a college fan. I'm dogs through and through. Anyway, moving on. What is the most underrated, you think, quality for leadership?
We'll go back to consistency.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
Consistently good.
Yeah.
Good. What's one word to describe the state of Georgia?
Awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And what is, and this is the final, what is one word to describe your faith journey?
Practicing. And I mean that by I'm an attorney and I practice law, right?
right.
And it's something, laws are always changing. You always got to be getting better. I think I'm a practicing Christian too. You always got to be
That's right.
looking for more to enrich yourself. And, if you either get better or worse. You never stay the same.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I
that's
think
great.
Consistently getting better every day. Like you said, consistently good.
Derek
It's all
Jeter.
about
I'm telling you, that's
consistency.
going to stick. I might end up preaching it before it's all said and done. Whether you're a pastor, a teacher, a coach, a business owner, a parent, or an elected official, even a volunteer at church or leadership is stewardship. And that's the truth, because God has entrusted all of us with influence in some way. And I would say this, and I preach this often, is that you're impacting someone, whether you realize it or not. You're leading someone, whether you realize it or not. So the question isn't whether we have influence. The question is, what are we doing with the influence that we have? And so, Bo, today, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate this. This is hopefully the video quality worked out great with my somewhat technical mind, but not quite thorough. But thank you for being here today. Thank you for the leader that you are. And I'm thankful that you're a part of our church and our church family. And I look forward to the future and serving right alongside of you.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all for joining another episode of the Follow Up Podcast. If this conversation encouraged you, be sure to share it with a friend, like, subscribe, and thank you. And always remember, guys, follow God, follow through, and follow up. See you soon.